Hello viewers and welcome to another match of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest. My name is Mitch and I am the Hive Tyrant. Today I present a game sent in by our player at the bottom of the screen. His name is Travis Lodes and he is going to be playing as our second to be released Orks Warlord Old Zogwort. Travis starts today's game holding our initiative token, and to the north resides his opponent Barzul the Hatebound, played by Matt Dokos. This game's first deploy action is going to be Zogwort tossing out a copy of Seer of Deceit to planet number 2. That, for the cost of 3, is a 3/3/1 command icon common Chaos Army unit that, provided it's garrisoned at a blue technology icon possessing planet, receives a Void Pirate-esque +1 card bonus. Then, for Barzul, affixed to planet number 4, we've got a copy of the 2-cost unique attachment, Slaaneash's Temptation. So now, whenever Zogwort happens to deploy an army unit to any planet apart from number 4, he has to incur a +1 resource cost premium. Zogwort lays down a copy of Chaos Fanatics, positioned at planet number 4. For the cost of 2, that's a 2-command icon 1/2 cultist trait army unit. And it looks as though Zogwort is actually changing his mind. So that's actually going to be shifted over to planet number 3, and therefore it's going to cost him a total of 3 resources. Just in assessing our opening planet layout, bear in mind that planet number 1 is going to be Farron, the route, a target non-warlord unit planet, and this may actually be a little bit longer game. It seems as though the earliest possible victory condition for either of our players is going to be planet number 5, if they collect 3 green strongpoint icons. For Barzul, we see a copy of Heretic Inventor grace the tabletop for the cost of 1. That's a 1-command icon 3/3, but unlike the similarly statisticked Seer of Deceit, it doesn't actually have any intrinsic beneficial ability. Instead, as a forced reaction, after you put it into play, your opponent basically decides what planet you deploy it to, and at this case, it looks like it's planet number 5, which is going to be Taurus. And considering Barzul currently only has 2 units in play, I definitely would not be shocked to see him sent to that planet, especially since he's going to have a 3/3 sitting at that location. Barzul could potentially sponge quite a bit of damage for that Heretic Inventor, and even if Old Zogwort to arrive at that same planet, a 3/3 could probably end up bloodying Old Zogwort before he reaches a sufficient mass of Snotlings tokens to drive our Ork Warlord away from that planet. Both of our players have at this point decided where exactly they want to send their respective warlords. For Barzul, it's looking like planet number 3. For Old Zogwort, it's going to be planet number 1. Planet number 1 is going to be a couple of resources for Zogwort. Planet number 2 is going to be a total of 2 cards and 1 resource for Zogwort. Planet number 3 is going to be a couple of cards for Barzul. Planet number 4 is going to be a push, and planet number 5 is going to be a card and a resource to the north for Barzul. Bear in mind, Barzul has a copy of the 1-cost, 1-command icon 2/1 Shoot-'em-Mob at planet number 1, and Old Zogwort is a 1/7 warlord. Whenever he's commit to a planet and whenever he's declared as an attacker, you generate a 1/1 Runt trait Snotlings token at his same planet. Old Zogwort, of course, is going to have initiative at planet number 1, and therefore it's entirely possible he might be able to clear out that Shoot-'em-Mob prior to it having any ability to damage Zogwort in return. The Shoot-'em-Mob is going to end up being killed, and now unless we see something devious played out by Barzul, then that is going to be planet number 1 captured by Zogwort, and that's going to be his opportunity to presumably rout that Heretic Inventor that's currently stationed at planet number 5. We're going to see battles break out at planet number 3, and Barzul, without any kind of external assistance, is no more than a 0/5 warlord. As a reaction, after a friendly unit takes damage, you can shift all of it over to Barzul, but because he has no printed attack value himself, even that lowly copy of Chaos Fanatics is going to be able to beat Barzul. So we'll have to see what exactly our players decide to do. It looks like Farron did not actually trigger. So that Heretic Inventor is going to be sitting at Taurus to potentially be able to keep accumulating cards and resources during the following round's command phase, and now it's going to be that Chaos Fanatics and Barzul kind of fighting one another there. So initially, Barzul has initiative. He's going to have to swing for 0. It looks like we maybe had a little bit of a take back in regard to Barzul swinging and then the Chaos Fanatics swinging. So we'll have to see what exactly our players are in the process of doing. Okay, there we go. I was thinking there'd be some sort of card trick that might come into play, because otherwise it just seems silly to send Barzul to a planet where you can allow your opponent to trigger Elwith. Okay, I guess we did not actually see Tzeentch's Firestorm played, so I guess that must have been a little bit of a red herring. Barzul simply uses his first combat turn to retreat, and that's going to allow the Chaos Fanatics the opportunity to trigger Elwith. So we'll have to see if that ends up being a little bit of a regrettable decision on behalf of our Barzul player, but without Tzeentch's Firestorm played, that's going to afford Travis to the south the opportunity to take a look at the top 3 cards of his deck, to add one of those to his hand, and then put the remaining 2 on the bottom of his deck. We move through an HQ phase. That's going to mean that the initiative is now going to be pointed toward our player to the north, Matt, piloting Barzul. Both of our players come across 4 new resource tokens. They draw 2 cards apiece, and if you haven't already taken notice, this is the new Unending War playmat, produced and sold at retail by Fantasy Flight Games. So this is their $29.95 new retail mat, and just color me very curious indeed to see what exactly future playmat retail products we have for Conquest, now that the spring, summer, and winter tournament kits are no longer containing playmats themselves. But our new planet number 1 is going to be Planum, our new planet number 5 is going to be Yavvarn, so the battle that has to take place at Planum, basically our players are going to be fighting over the ability to relocate one of their non-warlord units to the planet of their choice. So it's going to be an incredibly valuable planet, and Barzul, with initiative, actually takes the liberty of tossing out a 3/4, so for the cost of 2, he's now got a copy of Snakebite Thug at that planet. It's going to be a 3/4 with a command icon and a forced reaction where after it resolves its attack, not, while it resolves its attack, but after it deals itself a point of damage. It's got a nice 4 HP reservoir, so it can take plenty of damage, then you can transfer that over to Barzul, and even after it resolves its attack and you deal it a point of damage, at least so long as it survives that point of damage, you can even move that over to Barzul. Our Barzul player has a copy of Ammo Depot, the 1-cost Orc faction support, in play, but he's yet to hit 3 or fewer cards in hand, so he's yet to be able to actually exhaust that support in order to draw 1 card. Also at planet number 1, Zogwart's laid out a couple of cards here. It's going to be a copy of Rickety War Buggy. That is a 1-cost 3/1 vehicle. It's got the Goes Fasta specialization, and that basically reads that whenever your opponent happens to possess initiative, that 3/1 cannot be dealt damage by units. It cannot be dealt damage by units. Also at planet number 1, we've got a copy of Evil Sun's Warbiker. For the cost of 2, it's a 2/2 with a command icon, and whenever a Warlord is present, it gets a +2 attack value bonus, which means that unless our Chaos player to the north really wants to use a lot of shield cards, that Evil Sun's Warbiker is potentially going to be able to kill off that Snakebite Thug, but the Thug itself will have an opportunity to attack first, and I can only imagine that its target is indeed going to be that Warbiker, but looks like we're going to be in the process of going through our command phase, and then after this happens, we see a copy of Warp Storm, presumably being played at planet number 1. So planet number 1 is going to be a card and a resource for Zogwort. Planet number 2, we've got a promoted copy of Chaos Fanatics across from a normal copy of Chaos Fanatics. That is going to be 2 cards for Zogwort. Note we've got a copy of Battle Cry discarded to protect the Rickety War Buggy. Planet number 3, the destination of Old Zogwort. He's going to be able to trigger a battle, and that is going to basically remove that copy of Slaaneash's Temptation, we've got a copy of Launch to Snots discarded to protect that Evil Sun's Warbiker from being destroyed, and then we do see 2 points of damage successfully assigned to the Seer of Deceit, and of course Barzul and the Snakebite Thug each take 2 points of damage respectively. Looks like at planet number 4 that's going to be a card and a resource won by Barzul, and now it seems a little bit regrettable. I believe our Barzul player is attempting to play Blood for the Blood God, and it seems like he kind of mixed up his order. Blood for the Blood God is a 1-cost signature event, can only deal damage to undamaged units, so therefore you generally want to play that first, immediately preceding a copy of Warp Storm for a possible 3 points of damage dealt to each and every enemy unit. And your own units as well. Looks like we've got a copy of Tzeentch's Firestorm. I believe that was played for 2 resources, as Barzul tries to kill off that Rickety War Buggy, which cannot be dealt damage by units. It can be dealt damage through card abilities and card effects, but thanks to another discarded copy of Battlecry, that is going to be a successfully shielded Rickety War Buggy. The Snakebite Thug takes a swing. It kills the Evil Sun's Warbiker. Its forced reaction triggers. Note that Barzul does not take that damage, and now the Seer of Deceit, I can only imagine, is going to be attacking that copy of Snakebite Thug, and unless Barzul the Hatebound has a copy of the Butcher's Nails, his signature attachment, then that is going to be 1 dead orc, and it looks like our Barzul player is going to be entirely out of resources with which to just use any kind of event or card ability trickery to try to win this battle. And as soon as that Snakebite Thug ends up being destroyed, then that means that Barzul is going to be the only unit left at that planet, and yeah, so I believe at the moment it's going to be that Seer of Deceit, presumably killing off the Snakebite Thug. Once Barzul is all alone, the best he can do is attack as a 0 attack value Warlord, and then that Seer of Deceit and the Rickety War Buggy are going to be able to quite handily expunge the presence of Barzul from that planet. Looks like we do not actually see Barzul retreat, so Barzul should have taken an opportunity to attack or otherwise retreat, but that's going to be the Rickety War Buggy dealing the bloodying blow, and that's going to be Barzul flipped over to his bloodied side, immediately ejected from the planet, and that is going to be him being transformed into a 3/11 Warlord. But now, if Barzul takes 11 points of damage, he's going to be destroyed, and that is going to be the game. Planum is going to be captured and added to Travis's victory display. It allows him the opportunity there to relocate his Seer of Deceit to our current planet number 5 to potentially win another card and resource bonus, at that planet the following round. We're in the process of going through an HQ phase, and just bear in mind that Zogwort, because he won a battle at Boundless, that was a randomly discarded card. It was a copy of Ammo Depot removed from Barzul's hand, and that copy of Slaaneash's Temptation was destroyed. So Zogwort, when he's commit to a planet or declared as an attacker, you generate a Snotlings token, and then at the end of combat, as a forced reaction, your hand is forced into destroying all of your Snotlings tokens. So our current first planet is going to be Eloith. It's got a nice 2-card bonus associated with it. The initiative is going to be in the possession of Zogwort at present, and currently Zogwort lays out a copy of his own Snakebite Thug at planet number 1, and he's currently got a whopping 5 command icons stacked upon that planet. Barzul is at the moment going to be rather incentivized to probably show up at planet number 2 to collect that card bonus, elicit a forced random card discard. And kind of the crappy thing about Barzul versus Zogwort is Zogwart's going to be able to deal a large amount of damage distributed through many attacks. Like Zogwort himself attacks for 1, when he's commit to a planet, that Snotlings token attacks for 1, and then each and every time that Zogwort is declared as an attacker, that's another Snotlings token that you can have deal 1 point of damage. We've now got a couple copies of Rogue Trader at our new planet number 5, Aatrox Prime. Rogue Traders are 1 cost, 0 attack, 1 command icon, 1 HP units. They've got a +1 resource bonus, and if Zogwort can stomach it, Aatrox Prime is now going to be a fantastic destination for him to show up, because he's going to be able to shut off both of those Rogue Traders, presumably kill both of them, and he's going to be able to collect a card and a resource and deprive Barzul of 2 resources. because of those economy units. Barzul, I was thinking it would be a pretty damn good idea for him to arrive at planet number 2, but now there's going to be a copy of the 3/4 Snakebite Thug positioned opposite, and Barzul can take a swing at the Snakebite Thug, but now if he does, he's not going to be able to kill it in one swing, and the Snakebite Thug could get off at least a swing of 3 in return to end up pretty significantly wounding Barzul. And now if Zogwort goes to planet number 5, that'll be great in an economic sense, or if he instead goes to planet number 2, he can just make sure to deal a large amount of damage out to the enemy warlord if Barzul shows up at that location. So we've got a second rickety war buggy at planet number 3. Looks like Barzul decided to go to planet number 5 just to basically guarantee that he's going to be able to activate those rogue traders. And if Zogwort had shown up at planet number 5, that would have been Barzul still would have collected that card and resource bonus, plus his 2 rogue traders. But planet number 1, we're going to see a battle there. Zogwort arrives at 3, by the way. Barzul shows up at 5. Planet number 1, we've got battle breaking out. Zogwart's got the initiative token. That's going to be 2 cards to the bottom of the screen to Zogwort. Planet number 2 is going to be a couple of cards to the bottom of our screen. Planet number 3 is going to be a card and a resource for Zogwort. Planet number 4 is going to be neither player winning anything. A copy of Shoot 'em Mob shuts off that Seer of Deceit. And then planet number 5 is going to be a total of 3 resources and 1 card for Barzul. Planet number 1, Eloith, is going to be captured by our Zogwort player. That's going to be him looking at the top 3 cards of his deck and adding any one of those cards to his hand, putting the remaining 2 on the bottom of his deck in the order of his choice. And now note that Zogwort is going to trigger a battle at planet number 3. Interestingly, Zogwort did not choose to generate a Snotlings token when he was commit to that planet during the command phase, and we're now going to be seeing a copy of Blood for the Blood God, that signature event, finally played, and that's going to be a single point of damage to each undamaged unit at that planet. So we see a copy of Squig Bombin and something else discarded as a shield. Both copies of Rickety War Buggy are going to be basically spared from being destroyed by that event, and the Heretic Inventor itself on Barzul's side of the table should have been dealt 1 point of damage. Looks like we see a 2 resource Tzeentch's Firestorm being played to try to kill off that Rickety War Buggy, but thanks to an intervening Squigify, that is not actually going to end up being destroyed. So Squigify basically mitigates that damage from 3 down to 0, and man, it looks like there's been a lot of Tzeentch's Firestorm action, either hitting the tabletop, whether it's ultimately played or not. It just seems like Barzul's deck is full of those. So the Snakebite Thug takes a swing. The Heretic Inventor, thanks to Tzeentch's Firestorm, only takes 1 point of damage, although it should have had 2 points of damage on it, thanks to Blood for the Blood God, unless I missed something. Another copy of Snakebite Thug took a swing, or Zogwort took a swing. The Heretic Inventor had launched an attack at something, but thanks to the discard of a copy of Weird Boy's Stick, the signature attachment of Zogwort, that damage was going to be prevented entirely. So Taurus, it looks like Barzul only got 4 units in total relative to the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 controlled by Zogwort. So Zogwart's going to be entirely unable to trigger Taurus, and now Aatrox Prime, because Barzul won that battle at Planet 5 entirely uncontested, basically fired into the HQ of Zogwort. That's going to be a point of damage on that Snakebite Thug, a couple of points of damage in total on Zogwort, and 1 point of damage on the Chaos Fanatics. So Zogwort, if he ends up picking up planet number 1 and 2, that is going to be the game, and Barzul is going to have to win at planets 1, 2, and 3 to be able to take home this one, or otherwise he's going to have to capture the last planet. So let's see what exactly we can expect. Barzul has our initiative token, and it's all up to Matt. Unfortunately, I think that copy of Ammo Depot in Barzul's HQ hasn't been able to do him absolutely any good throughout the entirety of this match, and there's already a rather formidable few units stationed at planet number 1 and 2 for Zogwort, and now really all he's going to have to do is either send his Warlord to planet number 1 to make sure that he's going to be able to pick that up, elicit that forced random card discard, or otherwise he's just going to have to try to reinforce planet number 2 as much as possible. But it looks like planet number 2 is going to be an all the more desirable destination for Zogwort, not only so he can set up, his 4 command icon Chaos Fanatics for the following round, but just because he's now got a couple pretty strong units at planet number 1. He's got another copy of one of those Warlord friends. It's going to be the Evil Sun's Warbiker that if Barzul shows up, it's potentially going to be able to swing for 4. The only crappy thing is Barzul is going to get to attack first, and because we saw the Weird Boy stick used, and we've seen Zogwort use a lot of 2 shield value cards, it's increasingly unlikely that Zogwart's going to be able to keep the Evil Sun's Warbiker alive. But planet number 2, we've got quite a few units by Zogwort. At planet number 3, we've now got a copy of a promoted Seer of Deceit, and remember, it's got that +1 card bonus. We also see a copy of Void Pirate, a 1 command icon 0/1/4/1 with a +1 card bonus of its own, and I believe that's a Shoot-a-Mob and a Rogue Trader on Barzul's side of the table at planet number 3. The promoted Shoot-a-Mob has a total of 3 command icons. We now see an Evil Sun's Warbiker at that planet, and that's a bit of a tragedy just because that Evil Sun's Warbiker could probably be doing much more good contributing to Barzul's war effort, but thanks to that Rogue Trader and everything else, it's going to be 3, 4, 5 command icons at planet number 3 for Barzul, and then that's going to be a total of 3, 4, 5, 6 controlled by Zogwort because of that freshly played copy of Chaos Fanatics. Inexplicably, we see a copy of Snakebite Thug played by Barzul to planet number 4, and I can really only think that Barzul probably would have gotten much more use out of just more combat units at like planet number 1 and 2, because he's going to have to try to block off Zogwart's victory condition here, but Barzul shows up at planet number 3 to try to win and shut off his opponent's 2-card value bonus, and Zogwort instead arrives at planet number 4 to shut off his opponent's +2 resource bonus. So planet number 1 is going to be a couple of cards for Zogwort, planet number 2 is going to be a card and a resource for Zogwort, planet number 3 is going to be a total of 2 resources for Barzul, because Warlords win by default, and planet number 4 is going to be a total of 1 card and 1 resource, 1 by our Zogwort players. So we elicit a forced random card discard. That's going to be a copy of the Frontline Ardboys discarded by Barzul, and for the cost of 4, that's a 2/5 with 2 command icons, and whenever one of your units would be declared the defender at that unit's planet, you have to declare the Frontline Ardboys as the defender instead. So it's a very tanky unit. It allows you to redirect some incoming enemy firepower, and now after planet number 1 was captured by Zogwort, that is going to be battle erupting at planet number 3. Barzul takes a swing for 3. That's going to be a dead copy of the Seer of Deceit. It only had 1 hit point remaining. The Chaos Fanatics attack. They managed to successfully kill off that Shoot-a-Mob. The Evil Sun's Warbiker manages to kill the Chaos Fanatics. The Rogue Trader takes a swing, and then we come to the end of a combat round, and that Void Pirate is going to be able to live and retreat. And now the nice thing about that Void Pirate surviving is that whenever Zogwort is commit to a planet during the following round, the Void Pirate will come along, and even though it shows up exhausted, it's still going to confer its 1 card bonus. So at planet number 3, I guess planet number 4, we have got a Snotlings token freshly generated. It takes a swing at that Snakebite Thug. The Snakebite Thug, controlled by Barzul, takes an attack. Squigify is going to be discarded as a shield, so therefore Zogwart's going to take 1 additional point of damage. Zogwort takes a swing for 1 after the Snakebite Thug damages itself. He deals a point of damage. He generates a Snotlings token. It looks like that Snotlings token managed to end up killing off the Snakebite Thug, but then we come to the end of a combat round, and just like Zogwart's Void Pirate, both of those Rogue Traders are going to be able to retreat, but Aatrox Prime is going to fire directed toward the HQ of Barzul, and that's going to be 2 dead Rogue Traders and 1 point of damage on Barzul. So Barzul is currently a 3/10 Warlord. Our initiative token is once again going to be positioned towards Zogwort, and I can only imagine that this is going to be the last round of the game. So we've gone through an HQ phase. That is going to be 2 cards and 4 resources for each of our players, and now it's all going to come down to this. Either Barzul is going to be able to block his opponent from winning at Taurus, or otherwise Barzul is going to lose this game, and I can only hope for Barzul's sake that he's got something along the lines of Warp Storm, because if Zogwort shows up at that planet, a Warp Storm could potentially kill the Snakebite Thug, both of those rickety war buggies, and the Evil Sun's Warbiker, but unfortunately it cannot kill a copy of Frontline Ardboys played by Zogwort, so that is a 2/5 unit, and even though Barzul can deal a significant amount of damage himself, he's by no means invincible, and he is going to be damaged by Warp Storm just the same as any of Zogwart's units. So let us see what's going to happen here. I can only imagine that Barzul is going to try to play as many units as he can to planet number 1. The same thing goes for Zogwort, and then both of these players had better send their respective warlords to planet number 1. So outside of a Warp Storm to provide some serious firepower, I don't really see that there's anything that Barzul can do to hopefully win this one. Sowing Chaos is not going to be a thing because this is not a blue technology icon possessing planet. At planet number 1, okay, and this makes me think there must not be a Warp Storm because all of Barzul's resources are now gone. He's got a copy of Snakebite Thug at planet number 1. He's also got a copy of the 2/5, 3-cost, 1-command icon Barzul's Cleavers. They've now got a copy of Promotion on them. As an action, they can deal themselves 2 points of damage to give themselves +1 for their next individual attack. But what really sucks about this is when Zogwarts commit to a planet, whenever he attacks, he generates a Snotlings token. Whenever one of these Barzul-controlled units attacks, it's going to basically be forced to attack the frontline Ardboys. And what really stinks about that is the longer Zogwort stays at a planet, the more tokens are going to come into play, and since Barzul himself and these beefy Chaos and Orc units controlled by Barzul can only take 1 attack to kill 1 token, it's going to be a lot of attrition-style damage going out to Barzul. So planet number 1 is going to be a card and a resource for Zogwort, planet number 2 is going to be a total of 2 resources for Barzul, and planet number 3 is going to be a total of 1 card and 1 resource for Zogwort. We see a copy of Battle Cry being played, and that may as well be the GG right there. So for the cost of 3, that is going to be each and every Orc unit getting a +2 attack value bonus, and as Barzul is taking a peek at the top of his deck, I can only imagine that that is indeed going to be the GG, but let's see it. That's going to be the Snakebite Thug swinging at the Barzul's Cleavers for a whopping 5 base, and okay, so that copy of Barzul's Cleavers is going to be destroyed, and it looks like that has got to be the GG right there, as we see another copy of Barzul's Cleavers discarded from Barzul's hand. Yeah, that's the Snakebite Thug dealing an attack directed toward that frontline Ardboys. We see a copy of Rock Bombardment discarded as a shield, so the frontline Ardboys are only going to take 1 point of damage. A Snotlings token is going to have the opportunity to attack. It takes a swing of 3. Well, I guess the Snakebite Thug is going to be killed as play kind of degenerates here. Barzul deals 3 points of damage to that frontline Ardboys. Zogwort takes a swing. That's going to be 3 points of damage to Barzul. A Snotlings token is going to be generated, and then those rickety war buggies are going to be able to attack for 5 apiece. And all in all, that was just a total nightmare. So thanks to Battle Cry, that frontline Ardboys could have also attacked for 4, but that is going to be the GG. Good game right there. So congratulations to Travis Lodes for managing to successfully pilot Old Zogwort, our second Orks faction warlord, to victory against the likes of Barzul the Hatebound, played by Matt Dokos. So this was definitely an interesting game. Be sure to let me know in the comments what you'd have done differently as either of our players. Do you feel that there was anything Barzul could have done to prevent his opponent from capturing so many planets? What could he have done to try to beat Zogwart's insurmountable economy? And how would you have built decks for either of today's warlords a little bit differently? But as always, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this content, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already, or if you are already subscribed, as ever, you're encouraged to share this content, because the more individuals there are that stumble upon these videos, the more people end up exposed to Conquest. They might give this game a try, enjoy what they experience, someday join our living card game community, and of course, the greater we are in number, the bigger message we send to Fantasy Flight Games, telling them to continue to develop this fantastic product. If at any point you'd like to get in touch with me, I definitely recommend that you do so through Facebook or on Twitter, and if you yourself are a content content creator, then I doubly recommend you contact me just so I can help promote your articles or videos or podcasts, whatever Conquest content it is that you produce, through any form of social media that you'd like. If you ever feel inclined to give back to the Hive Tyrant, I would be honored, humbled, and deeply appreciative were you to donate as little as $1 on a strictly monthly basis to my Patreon, just because it all helps me to recover some of my file hosting and operating expenses, and each and every additional dollar only stands to be reinvested to improve the existing audio and video quality of the content that I publish to this channel. So, as always, thank you so much for watching, and once again, be sure to check back in again soon for much more Conquest LCG content to come.